Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. Hearts were heavy during the spiritual service at the downtown Mission today. Community members and staff honoring the man killed by police in an altercation last week. Plus, lots of residents living in the Cabana Road West area aren't pleased about proposed developments. The latest on community efforts to stop the plans. And humans aren't the only living organisms that sweat during the summer. Corn sweat is a real thing, and it can make it feel more humid. Every Friday, there's a spiritual service that's held at the downtown Mission. The focus is on the fact that there are better days to come. But today's service was the first since the death of Jason West. He was shot and killed in an altercation with police last week. Before the service, I sat down with Matt Johnson, a staff member at the Mission, who knew West personally.
It certainly has impacted our clients. Anytime that one of their friends or one of their, colleagues in the life that they're living passes away, it's a big impact. My clients are used to people dying of overdoses, unfortunately. They've become more used to of their friends and loved ones dying of violence perpetrated by themselves. This adds a little different layer when it's the police involved. He was a wonderful guy. He had a great spirit and a great heart, and he was very sick. He had struggled with mental illness and substance use for a long, long time. Jason was one of our clients that when he was good, all he wanted to do was help us. So he would clean without being asked. He would try and organize clients' belongings so they weren't strewn around everywhere. He was really helpful, and he was really kind, not only to my staff team, but to the rest of the clients that we serve. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking. I don't know all the details of what happened that day. I do know that anytime someone who is as ill as Jason was gets killed, it's heartbreaking to the community, his community, his people that are out there struggling on the streets. It's heartbreaking to us because it's yet another person that has passed through our organization and as we have shown love to and compassion and empathy to, that's gone now. And it hurts my heart for the system that I work in, that somewhere along the line we failed Jason enough that he was in that position where this tragic event happened.
Homeowners on a section of Cabana Road West aren't happy about some major developments proposed for their neighborhood, with the mayor saying there's not much that can be done. The CBC's Dulcin Chen was at the community meeting last night.
I'm all for housing. That's why we're open to some form of higher density compared to single family. But to basically clear cut Cabana Road West and make it look like Dougal Avenue is a mistake.
Dan Cochamilio is one of around 200 residents who gathered to share concerns about the future of a 1 kilometer stretch of Cabana Road West. That section of Cabana between Dougal Avenue and Casgrain Drive has 3 different proposals for multi-story mixed-use developments, each boasting multiple commercial spaces and residential units. Many who live in the area fear that what's planned will change the nature of their neighborhood.
They're coming into a perfectly mature neighborhood and clear-cutting all the trees to put up apartments in a fully residential neighborhood. I want to see if there's anything we can do to change this. Like, is our mayor and the city council gone nuts?
But last week, Mayor Drew Dilkens said council often has little ability to deny development proposals once they reach the council level.
Once you have an affirmative report from the city planner and a positive vote by the committee, by the time it comes to city council, it is almost impossible for city council to reasonably turn down that application. And what I'm trying to convey is that city council's hands to stop that type of change is they are very limited in the tools that we have.
According to the mayor, recent changes to provincial housing legislation require municipal governments to be very specific about their reasons for saying no to housing development. At the South Windsor residents' meeting on Thursday night, Kochmilio said he understands the mayor's point.
But the thing is we have to get it before that, before it hits council with that Development and Heritage Standing Committee. I believe that that's where most of the changes could be made.
At least one of the development proposals for Cabana Road West has already been revised, now involving a 4-story building with a 61-space parking lot. The next meeting of the City of Windsor's Development and Heritage Standing Committee is October 7th. Kochmilio says he's still in the early stages of organizing, but Cabana Road West residents need to be acknowledged.
We need to get involved with that standing committee now, let our voice be heard, and talk about how potential rezonings to higher density will impact the neighborhood. I mean, this is a beautiful neighborhood, and the fact that the City of Windsor potentially wants to clear-cut Cabana Road West and impact both neighborhoods on either side, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
There's been a setback to curling plans as the city tries to get ready for the season. With a little over a month to go, there's no ice, at least not yet.
We were in negotiations with the ice maker that had been used at Roseland, and unfortunately, last week he let us know that for personal reasons, he was unable to commit to the agreement. So we have a backup plan in place and are working hard to make sure that ice is in on time and that it's high quality curling ice for the curlers that'll be joining us this fall.
Curling this year will take place at Rink A at the Capri Pizzeria Recreation Center in South Windsor. That's because City Council decided to close the curling rink at the Roseland Golf and Curling Club last year. Knight says they're exploring options for other ice makers or having their staff specially trained to make curling ice. She says they're in the midst of continuing to receive curling equipment. She says other upgrades like new lockers, curling stones, and lounge are well underway. The ice is expected to be ready by the start of curling season on October 21st. 3 Windsor Public Library branches will now be open Sundays starting this weekend. The Central Branch downtown, the Bootimer Branch, and the Riverside Branch will be open from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Changes are being made as well as all branches will convert to winter hours starting this Sunday. The winter hours will stay in effect until December 22nd. Then there will be a 2-week holiday period, and a new annual operating schedule will kick in January. For a complete list of hours and locations, visit windsorpubliclibrary.com. Corn grows at the hottest time of the year, and when we're all sweating, so is the corn. Yes, corn sweat is a real thing, and it can make it feel more humid outside. Kareem Malik, an assistant professor at the University of Windsor, with an explanation.
So corn sweat is a very interesting term that has been coined out of the behavior of corn in response to increasing temperature. So again, this is like linking how corn behaves to human in terms of sweating. So generally and technically, corn would produce some water, which we would call this transpiration or some of evaporation that comes as a result of a linkage with plants. This can also bring to humans is that it changes the general relative humidity. So that means that we can have what we call high heat index, and this could be related to that this evapotranspiration that comes from corn-related transpiration. Ontario grows about 61% in terms of corn. Out provincially, Quebec is 30.2. This is from 2011 census. So if we trickle this down to local level, Windsor is a huge contributor in terms of agriculture. Therefore, this amount of evapotranspiration linked to crops is likely to change local environment.
Why is corn like sweatier than other things?
Indeed, it is simply part of the corn's natural photosynthetic process. Soybeans is also an important contributor to the heat index or evapotranspiration. I would say it is not bad in the sense that it is a natural process. If we move down to say very individual level, for example, this could lead to heat stress on humans. And one other thing we should look at, if we look at it in agriculture context, it's also not good news for agriculture because that means that crops are losing water and we have to replace this water.
Chris, I get that it's no fun to feel even hotter in the summer months, but corn is one of the best summer treats, and I don't know if I could ever give it up.
I will never give it up. I don't think I can. You can barbecue it. You can boil it. You can just slice it off and put it into tacos. You can do whatever you want with corn.
It's so versatile.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. And especially here in Essex County, you know, it's just part of who we are.
100%, 100%. And you'll be able to have a picnic outside with that corn if you actually want to as we get through the weekend, because not much will actually change, Meg. We still have high pressure in place. It's centered over New England, and it's still influencing southern Ontario's weather. It continues to hold sunshine across the board. It continues to hold any active weather outside of our vicinity, and that's going to be the story through the weekend into Monday, Tuesday. It's into Wednesday and Thursday. That's the next chance of maybe a few showers. Temperatures as well, a little bit above normal, both in terms of daytime highs, peaking at around 26.2 today. That's above the normal daytime high of 23, and the overnight low early this morning, 15 degrees, which is obviously higher than that normal overnight low of 12.7. Basically the mid-20s across the board. Not much humidity in the air as well. It's been a comfortable day today. Very similar stories as we step through the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and for that matter, Monday, Tuesday. Temperatures right now at 25 in Windsor, 23 Chatham, 27 in Goderich, and the moisture in the air makes it feel like the high 20s to the low 30s. So like I said, humidity, not a big factor, and it won't be a factor as we step forward through the weekend. In terms of what we're seeing on the satellite and radar, well, not much. Once again, high pressure center over in New England is controlling the weather across the board. There is some rainfall moving through southern Manitoba, but that's not expected to drift into southern Ontario. Through the weekend, we will stay dry. I guarantee it. So in terms of how things shape up, the precipitation outlook, not much to outlook on. We still stay dry through the evening, the overnight, through the day tomorrow. As we get through tomorrow and tomorrow night, we still remain dry, and not much will change as we step forward through the day on Sunday. There might be a few more clouds moving in, but that's literally it. As we get through Sunday night and into Monday, more of the same. We'll stay dry, sunny. There might be a few wispy clouds moving in for the day on Monday, but that's just cirrus. No chance for active weather. Overnight lows will kind of vary with a light easterly wind, 18 to 19 degrees across Windsor, Leamington, Chatham, Kent. The mid-teens are expected towards London and Sarnia. As we get into the day tomorrow, lots of sunshine, daytime highs in the mid to upper 20s, feeling possibly as high as 32 to 33. So it's going to be a beautiful day for outside activities. And UV index will be moderate. So obviously still have the sunscreen on, especially for the little kiddos, but other than that, it's going to be a gorgeous day. More of the same for Sunday, highs near 29, so we'll flirt with 30. Highs will feel closer to 32, 28 for us on Monday. Tuesday will become mostly cloudy. Still looks dry though on Tuesday with highs around 26, and then 25 for Wednesday with a chance, slight chance, mind you, Meg, for showers.
Chris, I know this is probably a boring forecast for a meteorologist, but boy, does it make it nice going into the weekend.
Oh, 100%. All I need to do is go like this.
Exactly. We know exactly what we need to know.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for that, Chris.
You got it.
As you heard there, gorgeous stretch of weather we've seen in Windsor, Essex, and that forecast is sticking around this weekend. We have more news coming up after the break. Josiah Sinan is here for his Week's End segment. And Josiah, I know people across the country are going to be running and walking for the Terry Fox Foundation this weekend.
That's right, Meg. It is the weekend, but I'm going to introduce you to another way that you can support this cause without having to walk or run. Instead, you can buy some lemonade. So I want you to meet Lauren Meadows. She's 9 years old, and she's going to be running her annual Lauren and Friends lemonade stand for the 6th year in Comber this weekend. I got to stop by a bit earlier for a sneak peek.
Okay, so this is the Lauren and Friends lemonade stand. It's for the Terry Fox Foundation. And here I have some candy kebabs that me and my friends made. It was really fun without my parents' help. And they're really good. And we have the blue raspberry lemonade right here. The lemonade is by donation. And this is my old lemonade stand type of thing. And I have my special award that I got, which was really special.
Tell us about the award.
It's the Terry Fox Certificate of Appreciation, and every single year they give me one sticker to add to it. So when I finish the one tomorrow, I get a sticker for it.
That is so cool. And Lauren, can you tell me a little bit about why this is such an important cause for you?
It's an important cause because other kids and other people who have cancer needs to be heard in the world. So we need to find a cure for cancer for everybody.
Pretty inspiring for 9 years old.
It is, and she's done such a great job decorating her lemonade stand
Yes.
without her parents' help,
Yes,
apparently.
all her. Yeah,
All
that's
her.
right.
And Josiah, how did she come up with this idea?
Yeah, so there is a bit of a story behind this, Meg. Lauren and her mom told me that one day Lauren was learning about Terry Fox in school, and this was around the same time that one of her friends, Megan, was diagnosed with leukemia. So Lauren came home from school that day and told her mom they had to do something to raise money for cancer research. And within a few days, they launched their first lemonade stand. And that first year, Lauren was only 4 years old.
Wow, that was a little while ago. And so how
Yeah.
much money has the stand raised?
Well, over the past 6 years, Meg, it's pretty amazing. They have raised over $39,000 in support of the Terry Fox Foundation. And of course, the lemonade is only a toonie, but the idea is to accept people's donations too. And that's, of course, also thanks to the amazing people and businesses in Comber that come out and support Lauren and her friends every year.
Okay, so if you're in the mood for a little lemonade, and you want to support a good cause, what should you know about the stand?
Yeah, so Lauren and her friends will be set up in Comber at the Rona from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. tomorrow. And Meg, I did get to sample some of that lemonade, and it was delicious. I asked if there was a secret recipe, and Lauren told me it's the store recipe. So very cute. And you can hear more of my chat with Lauren and her mom on the CBC Listen app by looking for Afternoon Drive.
The store recipe is probably the best kind.
Exactly. You can't fail, right?
You can't. Thanks so much for that, Josiah.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We have more news coming up after the break. The threat of an Air Canada pilot strike has travelers across the country worried and wondering what to do. The airline says it would affect about 100,000 passengers a day. And it says it will be notifying customers if any flights are canceled today as it prepares for the possibility of a strike or lockout next week. CBC's Nisha Patel has the latest.
Daniel Chu didn't want a shutdown to ruin his travel plans.
We want to choose to change our flights just to avoid the risk of, missing out the flight.
So his family is flying to Tokyo 2 days early to start their vacation.
It is a bit stressful, we have to all get approvals from managers, to take an extra day off and then just scrambling around.
Air Canada and its pilots union have been in contract talks for more than a year, but wages are still a big sticking point. If they don't reach a deal by this weekend, either side could move forward with a lockout or a strike next Wednesday. Air Canada has warned it could start canceling flights on Sunday to prepare for a shutdown. The airline has already stopped accepting some cargo.
I do have to get back for work, so I just bit the bullet.
Christine Renault was visiting Newfoundland to hike the East Coast Trail, but was forced to cut her trip short by almost a week.
To be honest, it is frustrating because I'm really disappointed because I really loved this hike so much.
Travel agents have been flooded with calls from worried customers.
For a lot of clients who are financially able to, booking refundable fares on alternative airlines ahead of time has kind of been our best course of action.
While business, industry, and tourism groups have said there could be costly impacts on travel and trade. Air Canada has called for the government to step in, but the Prime Minister insists it's up to the company and its union to work things out.
So I know every time there's a strike, people say, get the government to come in and fix it. We're not going to do that. We believe in collective bargaining, and we're going to keep pushing people to do it.
Passengers who might be affected can get travel credits or rebook flights for free within certain dates. Though with the deadline looming, how widespread the disruption will be is still up in the air. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Tens of thousands of aircraft workers walked off the job today at Boeing factories in Washington, Oregon, and California.
This is about addressing the past, and this is about fighting for our future.
It comes after union members voted overwhelmingly to strike and reject a tentative contract that would have seen wages increase by 25% over 4 years. The labor action involves 33,000 Boeing machinists, most in Washington state. It will halt production of the company's best-selling planes. The strike will not affect commercial flights, but it does represent another setback for the aerospace giant. The strike is the first at the company in 16 years. Prime Minister Trudeau was in a Montreal suburb today making a spending announcement prior to next week's by-election in the city. He also took the opportunity to go after the NDP, who up until last week helped prop up the Liberal government.
I do believe that Jagmeet Singh and the NDP actually do care about the environment. It's just increasingly obvious that they have no idea what to do to fight against climate change. In the 2021 election, they had no serious environmental plan. And over the past years of our excellent agreement that delivered concretely for people on progressive priorities and made sure that Parliament was working for Canadians, they had no ideas on the environment.
Just in time for this Friday the 13th, the London Dungeon has opened up its collection to celebrate its 50th anniversary. It's a haunted attraction which recreates the capital's dangerous and gory past. The public is being invited to view the many spooky, weird, and wonderful objects in their archives. Some used to recreate gory and gruesome historical events, with Jack the Ripper and Sweeney Todd using gallows humor. The collection also features a Victorian dentistry kit complete with barbaric-looking tools and supplies with specks of dried blood still on them. Don't miss the haunted doll in the pram who rocks herself to sleep, and her sinister sister doll Fanny Beckett, who meddles with the building's electrical system. Definitely not for me. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. You can also download the CBC News app for stories that matter most to you. And don't forget to watch The National tonight at 9 on CBC News Network, 10 p.m. on the CBC News app, CBC TV, and streaming on CBC Gem and CBC Explore. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here next week.